Youngster You.
Tempe, Arizona's No Lungs is a DIY indie project that began back in 2018, and since then, they have come out with 4 full-length albums, a live record, and many singles. They're currently back on tour for the month of March, and today I'm here with Austin Cooper, the brains behind the whole operation, to talk about it all. Austin, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Not too shabby. I'm a little tired. We played in Flagstaff, Arizona last night, which is about 2.5 hours away from where we live. So, and it was a late show. We got back into town, back in Tempe at around 5 a.m.
Damn.
But I'm vibing out. I'm ready to go.
All right. Awesome. How was that show?
It was so fun.
Really?
The scene in Flagstaff, Arizona is, it's amazing, man. Yeah. Cause we played in Tempe in our hometown, like 20 minutes away. Mm-hmm. We played there the night before, and we were competing with so many other things happening that night. There was a huge festival that was happening. There were a couple of like really big bands playing these huge venues and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So it was, it was all right, but Flagstaff just insane, blew it out of the water.
Cool. Glad to hear that. Yeah, I was actually going to ask, how have those, because I think you've only played like 2 or 3 shows on this tour that you just started on. Is that right?
Yeah, we're starting it around Arizona. Okay. So we played in Mesa on Friday night, which is about 20 minutes from our hometown. We played in Flagstaff last night, and that's all we got so far. We're playing at Tucson next week, which is about an hour away.
Okay.
And then after that, we're like actually leaving the state.
Awesome.
And playing out.
Is that going to be the first time playing a show out of the state since kind of the whole lockdown, no shows thing ended?
It's going to be not our first time. Actually, our first show back was in California, in awesome. San Diego.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, this is going to be our first kind of tour, obviously, since everything kind of happened.
Yeah, that's got to feel good. How have these last few shows been? Have they been a little strange? Have they been at least some sort of semblance to how shows used to be?
Yeah, I mean, they've been pretty all right. I mean, Flagstaff was amazing. Mesa was also amazing. But actually, yeah, coming back into the show thing, we've played a couple shows since, everything kind of got a little bit better. And then it got worse, and then it eventually started to get better again. But at that point where things were starting to get better the first time, we went out and played in California, and we played another show in our hometown. That was kind of weird, kind of getting back into it, getting back into the flow of things.
Yeah.
I got like the jitters again, like actually playing in front of people, which is something that was missed and kind of new. Kind of coming back to it. But yeah, I mean, after that, like, it's kind of easy peasy. It feels just like, it feels almost just like normal again.
That's good. What would you say needs to change before it like fully feels like normal?
That's a great question. I think the main thing, it's still kind of weird, like having to go and show a Vax card and be like, okay, yeah, I got my mask, I got everything. Just having that kind of extra step, I guess, even though it's a good thing, we want everybody to be safe, masked and vaxxed and all that stuff. It's still a little bit strange. It's a little bit like, oh, okay, like in the back of the head, I guess it's like, there's still that level of like, I don't want to get anyone sick type thing like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's like the mentality, which
a little bit.
That's tough. That's a tough one to like fully progress out of, but it's probably just going to take a while,
Exactly.
Yeah. I would love to talk about touring just later on, but I did have just a general curiosity that I had to ask about. So, and this actually does kind of relate to touring a little bit. There was...
Yeah, what's up?
You just posted on Instagram a recent No Lungs feature in AZ Central. They called you Austin Moore by mistake.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I think that's funny in itself, but I was actually reading some other interviews you've done in the past, and I noticed... One of them from, I think it was 2018, called you Austin Ryan, which is even more embarrassing for them because they actually had an in-depth conversation with you. So why does this keep happening?
Okay. So the Austin Moore thing, I don't know how the hell that happened. Like, I'm gonna be straight up with you. I don't know how that worked out. I'm nowhere close to Austin Moore. The Austin Ryan thing happened a little early on. Because there was a point, like even on our old CDs, there was a point where I was calling myself Austin Ryan. For SEO purposes.
Got it.
Because whenever you search Austin Cooper on Google, you get a bunch of pictures of Mini Coopers, like the car.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, I'll just do Austin Ryan in case anybody in the world decides to just look me up for some reason. And then eventually I was like, nah, let's just keep your real name.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Authenticity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not gonna send a bunch of emails and be like, hey, actually, can you change my name?
Yeah.
Please change it back to Austin Cooper. I think when I was doing the Behind the Vinyl podcast with Steve, that was around when I started saying, okay, I'm gonna do Austin Cooper now.
Okay.
It was like a little while ago.
Yeah.
My real name.
I honestly can't think of anything for the Austin Moore thing aside from, someone was just like, wait, what was that guy's name again? And someone was like, I think Moore. And they're like, all right, cool, we'll just go with that.
In my head, like the thing that I was thinking that it might be a long shot was they were talking about something about like the 90s, like associating us with it. They're like, yeah, they sound like the 90s or whatever. There was this figure in the 90s. There was a band called Sonic Youth, and we get compared to them here and there. But the lead singer in that band is named Thurston Moore. So maybe he was like in the middle of like, I don't know, maybe that was on his mind. I don't know. Or maybe he maybe it was that. What's his name? Austin Moore.
Just a big Sonic
He calls
Youth
himself
fan.
Austin Ryan. He calls himself Austin Cooper. Let's just give him another one.
Yeah.
Austin Moore.
Yeah, what's one more, right?
Exactly. One more with 2 O's.
Yeah, and then they can compare you, to the lead singer of Sonic Youth, which isn't such a bad thing. So
not too shabby, yeah.
Right. Well, with that out of the way, just some general overview of the band. As I mentioned earlier, No Lungs began in 2018. So in the grand scheme of things, the project is still fairly young. And between that year and 2020, you put out those 4 records. So where do you find the inspiration to be that productive at times?
I think it's just kind of the need to do it. I mean, whenever I get an idea that really sticks, I try my best to just go as quick as I can, flesh it out, and just make it sound good.
Yeah.
So I can record it myself and do all that stuff. I think, number one is just kind of the need to be productive. And I was also kind of taking from, there's this band Car Seat Headrest that that's kind of the same. I mean, with No Lungs, it was one guy at the beginning. And he was just cranking out albums just by himself, just made them in his bedroom, put them on Bandcamp. And that was kind of where I was like, okay, well, I'm doing everything kind of independently. So it's like, if I come up with an album's worth of songs and then another album's worth of songs within the span of a year or a few months or something, I'll just put them both out. It doesn't really matter too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I was going to ask you mentioned Will Toledo, Car Seat Headrest, and then Dylan Baldy from Cloud Nothings had very similar beginnings. They both just kind of started out solo with their own recording projects. So what is it about writing, recording, and releasing completely solo that really appeals to you?
In all honesty, I think it's the fact that sometimes I'm just really stubborn. Like, if there's a song in my head and I want to put it down on paper, like I want it to sound kind of exactly how I hear it in my head. But on the flip side, it's like playing live and stuff, we add our own little flares into it. So in my head, it's like, I don't really mind what we do live because the recordings are they're gonna outlast them. You know what I mean? Like a live show is kind of a fleeting moment. Whereas like a recording, exactly as I thought it would sound in my head and stuff, like kind of the master, kind of just, it's always going to be on Spotify. It kind of lives on forever. So I think I'm a stubborn person. Sometimes I want things to sound exactly as they sound in my head.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the control of it too. Like being able to I don't want to be the person that's like, no, that drum take sucked. Like, let's do it again or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, nah, I'm just going to do it all myself.
Yeah. And so how does that factor into like the chemistry when you guys get together and play the music that you've written and recorded by yourself in a live setting?
It's still a little weird for me. For the rest of the guys, they're cool with it because I kind of lay it out right. I'm like, hey, like, I'm recording everything myself, but I definitely don't want to have like a loop or a drum machine live. Yeah. So the main thing too is when Nolan started, it was just going to be a recording project and I wasn't going to play live. And then eventually I was like, okay, these songs go hard. Like, let's play live. So I was really meticulous in the people that I hit up because I wanted to make sure that they knew that I wasn't looking to record with them. And I also wanted them to know that at the beginning, it was supposed to be a revolving band. So just whoever wants to come play, we'll learn our set and we'll just do it. And that's how it was at the beginning. Recently, I've kind of stuck with this lineup of Jake on the drums. We have Ryan King on the bass, and we have Colton Anderson on guitar. They all play in different bands. So they kind of have that creative outlet with their other projects to go and record things and write music and stuff. And I still kind of lay it on the line. I'm like, hey, like, this is going to sound great, like live and stuff, but I'm still really like not in the position to have people record with me. Yeah. And they're all cool with it. So it's awesome. A vibe. And when we do things like live stuff, it's obviously like, add in your flares, add in whatever you want, really make it your own, because in my head, the recording is going to outlast it anyway. So just kind of do your thing.
Definitely. Okay. And with regards to songwriting too, how do these ideas for your music usually take shape?
Sometimes it's with a guitar riff. Sometimes it's with a drum, kind of a drum beat. But other times I'd hear something in passing, or I'd hear something on TV, or I'd read something that just seems like a cool line. Just kind of like, I feel like a lot of people these days, I just open up my notes app and I write it. I have like a list full of just random lines, random things. And then when I write a song that would kind of fit the mood of, something like one of those lines, I'd pick from it and then, kind of take inspiration from that and build something off of that.
Mm-hmm. And just to go into the specifics just a little bit, I did notice that take like the song Big Enigma Energy, for example, the guitar echoes the vocal melody in the chorus. So are stylistic decisions like this one predetermined, or did they just kind of find their way there along the way?
Things like that were predetermined. Okay. Because, like things like that were predetermined. But definitely when you're recording anything, something would happen and you're like, oh, that actually sounds super cool. You're like, let's do it. When a lot of these recordings that I have, there's like a gajillion guitar tracks of just me trying random things out, testing, and seeing what sounds good. And there's always going to be something that like pops up that wasn't predetermined. I'm like, oh shit, that actually sounds super cool. Like, let's add that in. Yeah. Let's do this. Let's do that.
Awesome. Also on the topic of recording, you've released these covers of songs by artists like Car Seat Headrest we talked about before, and then just to name a few more, Counting Crows and Always. So that's a fairly diverse grouping. Are these artists that you draw inspiration from, or do you just like the songs and think they'd make cool covers?
Number one, that actually took me a second, because those songs are only on Bandcamp. Counting Crows one and the Always one. I was like, oh, I forgot we even did Always. Insane. Deep cuts.
Yeah. I'll throw them in.
I mean, I don't draw a huge amount of inspiration from bands like Counting Crows and Always. A lot of those is like, this is just a really great song.
Right.
Car Seat Headrest, obviously, I drew some inspiration from it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to just kind of cover this one. I'm trying to think of other songs on there. There's one that's called Big Dipper by the band Built to Spill. I did that one for like a Built to Spill compilation, things like that. In all honesty, it's just like, these songs are really cool. It'd be cool to kind of do one.
Yeah. So how do you decide like what kind of your own flares to put into it? Because with covers, like I think people tend to think a lot that it's like super restrictive. You have to follow the same form of the song, but you can get extremely creative with covers. So where do you draw the line with that?
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, like a lot of the covers that No Lungs does, I try to keep them fairly true to the original. I don't try to put too much brain power in it because honestly, the songs are good as they are.
Yeah.
Like, it's like just kind of do the thing. Sometimes, I mean, we'll add little things here and there, but for the most part, it's kind of just kind of keeping it as it is. There was at one point there was a little EP that I did. I took off now, but it was like acoustic songs, acoustic covers that I did just in quarantine.
Okay.
And I think on there was like, I don't know, it was like Photo Booth by Death Cab and like Bright Eyes and things like that.
Oh wow.
So yeah, especially with like things like a Death Cab song, I was, there was a little more effort being made into actually like kind of making that sound good without drums or anything like that. But 95% of the time it's just kind of keeping it to how it is already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And with listening too, you've mentioned, I think this was in the Behind the Vinyl interview, that you a lot of times take a more analytical approach to listening to music just in recent years since you've been, doing this project. Does that take away from the enjoyment of it in some cases, or has it maybe given you more of an appreciation for it?
It's kind of a hybrid. I started No Lungs in the beginning. I kind of was like, hey, I want to do everything myself. Because I just like that control of it. And I'm going to learn it and I'm going to make it sound pretty good. So yeah, I mean, part of that, especially with like mixing things, I feel like I've gotten much better at it now, but there's so many times where at the very beginning too, I would hate it. Like it would take all of the enjoyment out of it. I'd be sitting there listening to a song and I'm like, nah, this doesn't sound good at all. Like this has to go up, this has to go down, this has to go up. And then you go back and listen to it like 20 minutes later and you're like, nope, it still sucks. This goes up, this goes up. So yeah, it took a lot of the enjoyment out of it at the beginning. But to me, it's all worth it listening back to that finished product where you can say, you know what, all of this kind of went into it and it worked out, Yeah. You learn new things along the way too, like especially with recording and mixing and stuff like that. There's a million kind of things that I feel like I learned from beginning to now and still more to learn.
That's awesome. How would you say that's reflected in, the progression of your albums? Because I know you had to re-record, was it the first two? The first two I had to re-record because it was just kind of the way that it was recorded. Usually if you want things to sound good, you need to like on the drums, you want to put mics on each drum. You want to have a mic for the room and stuff like that. But when I did the first two No Lungs albums, instead of having a mic to pick up each individual drum, I had one that picked up the entire drum set. Okay.
And then so basically, all that out of the way, the first two No Lungs albums, I didn't know what I was doing. And it all sounded extremely like muddy.
Got it.
Because you couldn't move certain drums to different like ears. Everything was like smack dab in the middle. And everything just sounded super muddy. And then, yeah, eventually I was like, okay, like I got to take this a little more seriously. And ended up, I think it was at that point that I was like, hey, I got to actually learn to do this. I got to actually learn to do this myself. Like no more kind of coasting on like, no more coasting. You got to actually kind of try to put a little effort into this. So yeah, I went back and I redid both of those. And then, after that did two more that I didn't have to redo, luckily. So yeah.
So after deciding to redo those first two albums, was that around the same time you decided you wanted to be more than just a recording project?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit before. And another part of the reason that I decided to do both albums is when we started playing live, I started to realize that I don't sing live the way that I do on the records, like the first two at least.
Okay.
The first two, I was like, I put on this nasally like voice, like so instead of like my talking voice or whatever, I'd go like, I'd go like this would be my nasally voice. And so I do that and I'd be like, this sounds so sick. It sounds like Placebo. Like, let's go. But then we'd play live and I wouldn't be able to turn on the nasally voice. So I went back and I was like, who are you trying to fool, bro? Like, just redo these. So I redid both of them, not sounding like an idiot. And I just kind of, so it was actually, we were playing live a little bit before I started to re-record things. Awesome. Which was good, I feel like. I feel like if we didn't, I would just still sound like a chipmunk. So. Yeah. Whatever.
And then we were talking about the Behind the Vinyl interview just a little bit. Listening to that interview, and still, I guess, kind of on the topic of music listening, you mentioned you had a pretty extensive CD collection. And I'm just curious, when did you start it? And are you like purposeful about growing the collection?
When did I start it? I started it years ago. Many, many years ago. I still try to grow the collection, but since that Behind the Vinyl interview, I got into collecting vinyl, which I never thought I would do because I thought it would be. I was like, nope, I'm not going to be one of those people that becomes like a vinyl snob. I'm not going to be like, oh, I got this special first press. But so most of my focus as far as collecting things has shifted from CDs for right now and more into vinyl. And now I'm becoming one of those people that I always hated. One of those people that's like, nope, I need to get that first press, or no, I need to get the UK version of this album. So, I've had the CD collection for a whole lot of years. I've had the vinyl collection for maybe a year.
I just remember when I just collect music in physical format, and the way that I started was CDs. I had a huge CD collection before I ever got into vinyl, and it's only been in recent years, and I was the exact same way. I was like, I'm not going to do that, it's just so heavy and expensive, and I was always just like, I don't want to, the way that I was thinking through, I was like, I don't want to like listen to half an album and then have to get up and ruin my experience to flip it over. A lot of times when I listen to CDs or even like just things on Spotify or whatever, like I'd lay down, I'd put them on, and I'd just kind of zone out. I'd like really get into it. But with vinyl, it's like you make it through 5 tracks and then you just hear the and you're like, I got to get up. Yeah, right when you're getting into it. Yeah.
I know. I'm like, dude, I was so ready, man. Yeah, I guess it's cool.
I hate too that like the way they always split it up is that they've got like the good song right in the middle of the album. That's what starts on the B-side. So you can, if you want to play that song, you can just go straight to the B-side. But I hate that because like the way the album's supposed to sound, you're so ready for that next song, and then you have to go flip the record over.
The worst. And what I noticed too is like a lot of singles, like a lot of the bangers on albums too, like they're the track 3s. Right. I don't know what it is, but like there's so many track 3s that I could be like, oh, that's a great track 3, track 3.
Right.
You can't skip to track 3. You gotta like really like precisely put the needle down. Yeah. And you're gonna get like half a track 2 in the process. It's gonna be like, damn, dude, not a clean cut. I want a clean cut.
I will say, for your most recent album, what was it about that third track that really spoke to you and was like, that's the one right there?
Oh man, the third track, it's called Our America, and it's I was living at this in this apartment with a couple people, and when everybody was out of the house, I started kind of playing it. I got that idea, and I think the chorus just really stuck out. I don't think it's like a political song by any sense, but it's definitely like, hey, I'm kind of pissed off at kind of everything that's happening. And the solo in it, I think, kicks ass. Yeah. So I was like, okay, let's go. Let's do this. Yeah. I mean, I just thought it was a good track 3, a good place to put. When I was originally making that album, I knew I had my track 1 and my track 2 already. I was like, I know it's going to start with at Metro Square, and I know it's going to go straight into Kurt Cobain. Yeah. And then everything after that, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. But Our America, I was like, let's put that at track 3. It sounds like it's going to be a banger. Let's go.
Yeah, and I think, I don't want to say it's my favorite song on the album, but it's after listening to it on repeat for like a few days, like the whole album on repeat for a few days, like that's the one that's stuck in my head. Like it's just
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
That's
like
awesome.
it goes right into it, like right into the action, and it's just it's awesome. Especially after Kurt Cobain too, you're like ready for more, and then you get it. You're met with that song.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I was like, all right, when I was like I said, I had my first 2 tracks picked out, but the rest I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. But yeah, the first thing I was like, okay, I definitely don't want to go into that acoustic song immediately after Kurt Cobain. We got to keep this hype up.
Yeah,
it's kind of like making a set list. It's like we want to keep our hype up, and then we want to kind of tone it down for a hot minute, and then we want to just kind of pick it back up a little bit more.
Yeah, and you've posted the set lists for your past couple shows, and I know some artists are, not that they don't want people to know it, but they'd prefer for people to be surprised. And so do you think about that at all, or you're just like, oh, here's the set list?
We change our sets every night.
Okay.
So it's not a worry for me. We played in... And that's how I've always been doing it. Like, you'd be able to go see our first show and you'd be able to see the set list. Because I was just so into, and I still am, I was just so into like making sure there was a document of everything. So yeah, you'd be able to see every show we played, all of our set lists, things like that. It's not a huge concern for me.
Okay.
It's whatever.
Yeah. And honestly, like when if I'm at a show and I happen to be like right next to the stage, I need to look at the set list, if it's sitting right there on the floor, like I have to like bend over, I have to like take a picture of it or something. I just want to know. So
I feel that.
Yeah.
Before I go to shows and stuff, I look on Setlist FM. I just try to see what they're playing. My roommate isn't into that. There's somebody that I know, one of my friends, that isn't into that. They'd much rather just be surprised. But the way I see it, I'm like, I want to know what they're playing. So I'm like, I got an idea of like, what to get hyped for. It just makes me excited even more that they're going to be playing this song tonight.
Yeah, like I have to know. I don't know what that is. What I used to be really into doing was I would take a set list or, kind of see what the trend has been, like what songs they've been playing. I'd make a playlist of it, and then I'd listen to that to get ready for the show. And then whatever the specific set list they would play, I would make a new playlist, and just so I could listen to it in like later years and be like, that's exactly the order they played the songs in.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah. I think I only stopped doing it so much. Well, there are probably a lot of things, but pandemic for sure, not going to shows for like a year and a half. But what I noticed was that a lot of times people would play like unreleased stuff, and I'd try to go to Spotify and make a playlist. I'm like, the song's not up yet, like it would just ruin the order. So
I feel that the worst one, like that happened to me. I saw this band Joyce Manor. They played at the Yucca Tap Room here in Tempe, and they had this song called Catalina Fight Song, which was, oh my God, I was so into it at the time, and I looked it up and I was like, I can't find it. I was like, I need to hear this song. And then 2 years later, it finally comes out. But those 2 years, I was like, come on, dude.
Yeah, and then I'll even like forget what it sounded like. I'll just remember the title. I'm like, that was a good song, but I have don't remember what it sounded like at all. And then it'll come out.
Exactly.
But honestly, it's part of the experience. Like it keeps you locked into your favorite bands.
Yeah. One of the things with No Lungs, because I did keep that in mind. I was thinking of that when we were starting to do things, and I'd start writing a new song or whatever. But my main thing, I was like, I want to make sure that we're playing songs that we already have out right now.
Yeah.
So someone can go back and find the title and just listen to it instead of having to wait, Lord knows how long until I put it out. We're not that big. We're not that big band yet.
Do you think at all about like, let's play this unreleased song and just like give people a little teaser or just something to get excited about? Like, does that cross your mind maybe?
Sometimes, but it's also, we're in kind of a weird position, and it kind of fits in with being one person and recording things. There's such a back catalog of songs that have been out that a lot of the focus is like, hey, let's learn this song that we've never played and do that. It's a lot of like teaching the dudes the songs that they already have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe down the line when there's a little break, we'll probably, I don't know, play something new.
Yeah. And speaking of, comparatively, it has been a bit since you've put anything new out. And I say comparatively because for a lot of bands, it's really not that strange to go a year and a half, 2 years without releasing anything. But for you guys, because you were pretty active there towards the beginning. Yeah. And so I did want to talk just a little bit about the hiatus. It was less than 2 weeks after the release of your most recent album in 2020, I believe. You announced that indefinite hiatus. And you talked about it in that Instagram post you made. But What specifically do you think led up to that decision?
There was just a lot of things kind of going on in my life at the time. I was still going to school. I had put so much work into that last album that I knew I just kind of needed a break. You needed a break from things. But I mean, No Lungs has been breaking up like 10 times. And then we always get back together. We always, meaning me, I get the motivation again to just do it like 2 weeks later. But there's this running joke where we just keep saying No Lungs is dead. Like, yeah, No Lungs is dead. Like, it's not a thing anymore. We ended up going so far as making stickers that just say like No Lungs is dead.
That's awesome.
Just stupid little things like that. And like we still ride with it. We're like, oh yeah, No Lungs, that's been dead, but we're playing some shows. We're going on tour and stuff, but we're dead. We're not a band.
Yeah. No.
And just kind of keep riding that forever. We were gonna make shirts that say No Lungs is dead too, but we were like, no, let's not do that quite yet. A little bit, like a little too much.
All right,
a little too much of an inside joke.
That's fair. And so what went on during the hiatus? Like what was going through, because I know, most of it was like pandemic related, but what was going through your head exactly? What kind of stuff did you think about in terms of the project and potentially getting back to doing things again?
There was a point when I stopped it, like right when I stopped, that I was like, I don't really want to do music for a little bit. Just because there was just so much that happened. I mean, with No Lungs, I put out 2 albums in 2018. I put out another one in 2019 and then another one in 2020. It was like, okay, that's like 40 songs, like just in the span of that, whatever. So I was like, okay, like let's take a step back, let's figure something out. And I don't know, maybe play in a different band or do something not related to your music. But I don't really remember exactly how I got back into it. I think it was, I don't really exactly remember. I think I was listening over to something or a No Lungs song or the Doggy record. And I was just like, man, this actually kind of kicks ass.
Yeah.
Like let's kind of go about it. And then we moved into this new place in Tempe, and it's a nice house. It's all right. But we got this living room that we just formed into a jam room.
Oh, awesome.
And once I started to kind of feel a little better, I invited the guys back, Jake and Ryan, and then we started getting Colton into the mix on second guitar, and I was like, okay, there's no plans for anything, I'm not trying to do anything, but let's just kind of jam and see how it goes, whatever. And it sounded pretty good. And No Lungs never really did a proper farewell show, so I was like, okay, well maybe we'll just do one show, just a farewell show. See you later. Peace out. It's been fun. And then, so practicing for that was, every time we practice, we're like, actually, this sounds pretty good. This sounds pretty good. This sounds pretty good. Yeah, maybe we'll do another show. Who knows? So we did one show in California before, just kind of for fun. Just, we'll try it out. This was Colton's first time playing with us. So like, okay, we'll go to California. We'll try it out. And then, kept practicing. We're like, okay, this sounds pretty good. Maybe we'll do some more shows. Who knows what's going to happen? This is all right. We played that farewell show, and it went so good. I was like, okay, this is way fun. Like being back on a stage and playing to people and having people like sing songs back, which was weird for me. I was like, y'all singing these songs back. This is kind of cool. So at that point, I was like, okay, maybe we should kind of keep going with this. As far as writing new music, there's a couple ideas floating around and stuff, but right now we're just kind of going for it, No Lungs is back, but it's dead, unfortunately.
Right. You got to remember that.
You got to remember that. No Lungs is big dead, always dead.
Would you say then do you think maybe you had just forgotten what the feeling was like of playing in front of people? 'Cause, I'm sure there was more to it than that, but do you think that was a big part of it?
I think so. I think it was probably a combination of that and like just the burnout. Because I don't know. That last record, the Doggy record, like it was the most that I've kind of put into anything. It was just a lot of trying new things and learning and trying to make sure everything sounded as it did in my head, which sometimes it wasn't easy to achieve with the knowledge that I knew at the time. Like I was just like, damn, this doesn't sound good. This doesn't sound good. So it was a lot of that. So by the end of it, once I finally was able to put it out, I was like, hey, I'm not touching this. I'm not touching this band. Like, let's just stop for a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then a couple months passed. I listened back, and it sounds pretty nice. It sounds kind of fresh.
It does.
So I was like, okay, let's just kind of do it. Let's just go for it.
Yeah.
But definitely playing on the stage in front of people. Yeah, that was definitely something I missed.
Yeah. Is there a show that you're most looking forward to on this tour?
There's a couple, honestly. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. We played Flagstaff last night, and I did not think it would go as well as it did. So it's gonna be really these next shows. I don't know if everything kind of goes the way maybe Flagstaff did. I'd be super happy. We have one in Berkeley, California. We're playing this venue called 924 Gilman, which is an infamous punk rock venue. Jawbreaker played there, Green Day played there.
Oh wow!
All of the punk rockers played there. And the catch was, to play Gilman, you couldn't be signed to a major label. That was kind of their thing. It still is. So it's like you got like Green Day and all these bands when they were still like youngins, in their younger years. So that's going to be cool. That's going to be really cool to play. I'm really excited. But the way that everything's being promoted so far, it seems like everywhere is going to be like a blast. So I'm really excited.
That's awesome.
To see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you talked about being surprised at the Flagstaff show. Have you kind of been approaching it with low expectations, or was it just that? Okay.
100% low expectations. We played, even playing places we knew, like even playing in Mesa. I mean, like, I'm gonna be honest, the turnout for Mesa wasn't like I thought it was gonna be. I was like, okay, we were competing with so many different things that night. Yeah. And it was like, okay, it was really hard to kind of get people out. So from there, I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, if it was hard to get people out to this one, how is this next one going to work? Yeah. And Flagstaff showed up, man. I came in there with low expectations. The show started at 9:30. We didn't even get to play until 11:45 in the morning. And it was packed. I was so excited to play because we were under the expectation that everybody would be gone. So we were like, okay, we'll just go up there. We have an hour set. They want us to play an hour, but we'll just cut it short. We'll play maybe a half hour, 40 minutes maybe, and then just get out of there. Went up there. We played our 40 minutes, got requests, which was weird. So pulled some of those out. Awesome. Pulled one or two out. And then got two encores. Encores. I was like, okay, let's go, guys. This is sick. So they definitely, yeah. But I don't know. I'm still one of those people that I'm like, okay, well, it's not gonna happen all the time. Yeah. So got to really bask in it. Kind of see what happens. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm definitely a low expectation guy, though. I'm like, you know what? Because then at that point, like, it can only go up. Right. It's like, oh, this is sick. This will be sick. Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah. Well, I mean, that show sounds so exciting. And you have, what is this, another week or so to regroup before your next show? Yeah. We're playing in Tucson next Saturday. Okay. So about a week. All right. And then we actually leave the state on St. Patty's Day. Nice. Go to Vegas. Very nice. Okay. Sorry, are you playing on that day or are you just leaving on that day? Oh, we're playing on that day. Nice. Very cool. Yeah, we're leaving in the morning on St. Patty's Day. And we're going to get there at night and play our show. Awesome. Well, that sounds really fun. I only wish that you guys were coming out to the East Coast so I could see you guys. I know, man. I want to make it to the East Coast so bad. One of these days, maybe. Yeah. We'll see. So you said you wanted to come out to the East Coast. Do you have any plans to do that maybe later this year? No. Okay. I wish, man. Yeah, I wish. I don't really know, honestly. Fair enough. So we talked earlier about it having been a while since your last release. So what else can we expect from No Lungs moving forward? Is there more music? That's a good question. In all honesty, I haven't really thought too much about it. I mean, like I said, there have been ideas brewing. Mm-hmm. My voice memos are slowly getting full of ideas of riffs and lyrics and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if I get that itch and put out something this year. But for right now, we're just kind of focusing on kind of getting out and playing some shows out of state, playing up on the West Coast, Utah, Colorado, all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the vibe, but we'll probably put something out, some content in this year.
That's good. I'm looking forward to it, whatever it may be. So
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, of course. Catch Austin and No Lungs out on tour this month. Stream his music and follow the band's socials at No Lungs AZ to stay in the loop. We love what you guys have been doing so far and just can't wait to see where it goes next. Austin, thanks again.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course.